Welcome to Spiritual Tips, a place built for those who refuse to give up. If you've ever felt like the weight of life was too heavy to carry alone, you're in the right place. My name is Peter, and everything you'll find here was created with one purpose: to remind you that moving forward is always possible, no matter what you've been through. This is not just a channel. This is a community of people who choose to rise every single day. Subscribe, and let's walk this path together. You have been told a story about happiness, a pervasive narrative woven into the very fabric of modern existence, suggesting that true contentment resides in the acquisition of fleeting pleasures, in the absence of struggle, or in the perpetual pursuit of an elusive, perfect state of being. This story, whispered by advertisements and echoed by the clamor of social media, promises a life devoid of shadows, a perpetual sunlit meadow where every desire is met, every challenge overcome with effortless grace. Yet you have likely felt the hollowness that often follows such pursuits, the subtle ache that lingers even after the momentary thrill has faded, leaving you to wonder if the very definition of happiness you have embraced is, in fact, a carefully constructed illusion. You have perhaps experienced the profound dissonance between the outward appearance of success and the quiet desolation within, the gnawing suspicion that something fundamental has been overlooked, a deeper truth obscured by the dazzling superficiality of contemporary life. Consider for a moment the relentless pressure to maintain an image of unblemished joy, to present a facade of perpetual optimism even when the world around you, and indeed the world within you, feels fractured and uncertain. This societal imperative to be constantly happy often transforms genuine human emotion into a performance, a relentless charade that drains the spirit and leaves you feeling more isolated than ever. You are taught to fear sadness, to avoid discomfort, to medicate away any sensation that deviates from the prescribed norm of cheerful complacency. But what if this fear, this avoidance, is precisely what prevents you from accessing a more profound, more resilient form of joy, one that does not shy away from the shadows but rather finds its strength within them? What if the secret to an enduring, unshakable happiness lies not in the eradication of suffering, but in a radical reorientation of your perspective towards it, a recognition that true joy can coexist with, and even emerge from, the very depths of human experience? This is not a tale of simplistic optimism, nor a naive dismissal of the very real pain that permeates existence. Instead, it is an invitation to explore a different path, a forgotten wisdom that speaks of a joy so profound, so deeply rooted, that it remains untouched by the shifting sands of circumstance, by the relentless tides of fortune, or by the inevitable storms that will, without question, sweep across the landscape of your life. It is a joy that does not depend on external validation or the fleeting satisfaction of material gain, but rather springs from an inner wellspring, a source that remains constant even when all else seems to crumble. This is the secret they never told you about happiness, a truth whispered through the ages by those who have walked through the valley of shadows and emerged not unscathed, but undeniably radiant. Prepare to journey into the heart of this enduring mystery, to uncover the profound truth that nothing, absolutely nothing, can truly steal the joy of a soul anchored in something far greater than itself. If the questions posed here resonate with the quiet stirrings of your own soul, if you find yourself drawn to narratives that delve beneath the surface of conventional understanding, then perhaps this space is meant for you. We explore the deeper currents of existence, seeking wisdom in the often overlooked corners of human experience, offering perspectives that challenge the mundane and illuminate the profound. Consider joining our community by subscribing to this channel. It is a simple act, yet it ensures that you will continue to receive content designed not merely to entertain, but to provoke thought, to inspire introspection, and to offer a different lens through which to view the complexities of life. Your presence here is valued, and we believe that together, we can continue to uncover truths that truly matter. Observe the man who lives without a transcendent anchor, the one whose existence is tethered solely to the material plane, to the shifting sands of worldly success and the ephemeral gratifications of the senses. He is often a figure of outward accomplishment, perhaps possessing all the trappings of what society deems a fulfilling life: wealth, status, recognition, an abundance of fleeting pleasures. Yet beneath this polished exterior, a profound emptiness often resides, a gnawing void that no amount of external validation can truly fill. He is like a magnificent ship, exquisitely crafted and adorned, yet adrift on an endless ocean without a compass, without a destination, propelled by currents he does not understand and ultimately cannot control. His life, for all its apparent luster, lacks a fundamental purpose, a guiding star that transcends the immediate horizon. This individual, untethered from any deeper meaning, becomes a weather vane, perpetually turning with every gust of circumstance, every shift in public opinion, every fleeting trend that sweeps across the cultural landscape. His emotional state is a direct reflection of his external environment. A sunny day brings a superficial cheer. A sudden storm plunges him into despair. There is no inner core of stability, no fixed point of reference against which to measure the vicissitudes of fortune. His identity is fluid, constantly reconfigured by the expectations of others, by the latest societal dictates, by the ever-present pressure to conform to an idealized image of success. This constant adaptation, this perpetual shape-shifting, is exhausting, leaving him drained and perpetually anxious, forever chasing an elusive sense of belonging or worth that can only be found within. The modern person, often surrounded by an unprecedented abundance of choices and opportunities, paradoxically finds themselves increasingly susceptible to this profound sense of emptiness. With every material comfort provided, with every technological advancement designed to simplify life, a deeper, more existential hunger often emerges, a yearning for something beyond the tangible. When the pursuit of pleasure becomes the sole objective, when the accumulation of possessions is mistaken for the accumulation of meaning, the spirit inevitably withers. The fleeting highs of consumption give way to the lingering lows of dissatisfaction, creating a perpetual cycle of desire and disillusionment. This is the tragedy of the empty man. He has everything the world can offer, yet he feels nothing of true significance, his soul a barren landscape despite the fertile ground around him. His existence becomes a series of reactions rather than intentional actions, a constant struggle to maintain a fragile equilibrium in a world that offers no inherent stability. He seeks solace in distractions, in the endless scroll of digital feeds, in the numbing embrace of transient entertainment. Anything to avoid the uncomfortable silence where the questions of meaning and purpose inevitably arise. But these distractions are merely temporary anesthetics, dulling the pain for a moment before it returns with renewed intensity. The absence of faith, understood not merely as a set of doctrines, but as a fundamental orientation towards a transcendent reality, leaves a gaping wound in the human spirit, a wound that yearns for healing, for connection, for a purpose that extends beyond the finite boundaries of a single, solitary life. Without this anchor, the soul remains adrift, perpetually searching, perpetually unfulfilled, a poignant testament to the profound human need for something more. Consider the insidious nature of self-centeredness, a subtle yet pervasive trap that ensnares countless souls, convincing them that the universe revolves around their individual desires, their personal comforts, their immediate grievances. This is the profound insight offered by the wisdom of the ages, articulated with piercing clarity in the words of Sulco. You are not happy because you keep ruminating on everything as if you were always the center. Your stomach aches, you get tired. This observation cuts to the very core of chronic unhappiness, revealing that the relentless focus on one's own perceived suffering, one's own unmet expectations, one's own fragile ego, is not a path to contentment, but a direct route to perpetual dissatisfaction and spiritual exhaustion. When you place yourself at the absolute center of your world, every event, every interaction, every fleeting emotion becomes filtered through the narrow lens of how it affects you. A minor inconvenience transforms into a monumental injustice. A casual remark becomes a personal affront. The successes of others are viewed with envy, their failures with a detached sense of superiority or a fleeting moment of schadenfreude. This constant self-referential loop creates a suffocating echo chamber, where your own thoughts and feelings are amplified to an overwhelming degree, drowning out the broader symphony of existence. Your mind becomes a perpetual battlefield, engaged in an endless internal monologue of grievances, anxieties, and unfulfilled longings, all centered on the insatiable demands of the self. This egocentric perspective is a profound destroyer of joy because it fundamentally distorts reality. It blinds you to the inherent beauty and interconnectedness of the world, reducing everything to its utility or detriment to your personal narrative. The vast tapestry of human experience, rich with its myriad colors and textures, shrinks to a monochromatic canvas painted solely with your own concerns. This inward gaze is not merely a psychological tendency, it is a spiritual malady that severs the vital connections that nourish the soul. True joy, in its most profound and enduring form, is inherently relational. It blossoms in the act of giving, in the selfless service of others, in the genuine appreciation of beauty that exists independently of your own desires. The escape from this trap of self begins with a radical act of reorientation, a conscious decision to shift your gaze outward, to recognize that your own well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of the whole. It is in the quiet act of listening to another's pain, in the humble offering of assistance, in the genuine celebration of someone else's triumph, that the suffocating grip of egocentrism begins to loosen. Consider the profound transformation that occurs when an individual, consumed by their own sorrows, finds solace and purpose in alleviating the suffering of another. The very act of stepping outside oneself, of extending compassion and service, creates a space for a different kind of joy to emerge, a joy that is robust and resilient, precisely because it is not dependent on the fragile whims of the ego. This is the paradox. By ceasing to make yourself the center, you paradoxically discover a deeper, more expansive sense of self, one that is capable of experiencing a happiness that transcends the narrow confines of individual desire. Life, in its rawest and most honest depiction, is an incessant battle, a relentless series of challenges, losses, and unexpected wounds. You will inevitably encounter periods of profound exhaustion, moments when the weight of the world presses down with an unbearable force, leaving you feeling battered, bruised, and utterly depleted. There will be times when the scars of past struggles ache with a renewed intensity, when the memory of what was lost casts a long shadow over the present. Yet even in the midst of this relentless combat, a profound and enduring joy is not only possible, but can become the very source of your resilience. This is the powerful image evoked by the wisdom of Sulco. Tired, hungry, wounded soldiers, yet joyful, carry in their hearts the certain lights of victory. This is not a call to deny your pain, nor an injunction to plaster a false smile over genuine suffering. Instead, it is an invitation to understand that joy, in its deepest spiritual sense, is not contingent upon the absence of wounds, but rather upon the unwavering certainty of a greater purpose, a final triumph that transcends the immediate skirmishes of life. Imagine the soldier, weary from the march, his uniform torn, his body aching from the blows of battle, his stomach empty from the long campaign. By all conventional measures, he should be despondent, defeated, his spirit broken. Yet if he carries within his heart the absolute conviction that victory is assured, that the ultimate outcome of the war is already decided in his favor, then a profound and unshakable joy can still reside within him. This joy is not a superficial emotion. It is a deep-seated confidence, a quiet strength that allows him to endure the present suffering with a sense of purpose and an anticipation of what is to come. Translate this powerful metaphor to your own life, to the personal battles you face daily. Perhaps you are grappling with the relentless demands of a career that leaves you feeling burnt out and unappreciated. Perhaps you are navigating the labyrinthine corridors of grief, mourning a loss that has left an indelible mark on your soul. Perhaps you are wrestling with the bitter taste of failure, the sting of a dream unfulfilled, a hope shattered. These are your wounds, your hunger, your exhaustion. And yet, even in these moments of profound vulnerability, the possibility of joy remains, not as a denial of your pain, but as a testament to a deeper truth. This joy is born from the recognition that your struggles, however intense, are not the final chapter of your story. It is rooted in the unwavering belief that there is a transcendent purpose to your existence, a divine plan that encompasses even your deepest wounds and transforms them into pathways for growth and redemption. When you carry the certain lights of victory in your heart, you understand that every setback is a temporary skirmish, every wound a badge of courage, every moment of exhaustion a prelude to a renewed surge of strength. This perspective allows you to face adversity not with despair but with a quiet fortitude, knowing that the ultimate outcome is secure. It is a joy that whispers of hope in the darkest night, a joy that reminds you that even when you are tired, hungry, and wounded, you are still a soldier in a battle that you are destined to win. The path of life, particularly for those who strive for something beyond the mundane, is rarely a smooth, unbroken ascent. There will be moments, perhaps many of them, when the weight of your efforts seems to yield no discernible progress, when the obstacles before you appear insurmountable, and when the very ground beneath your feet feels as though it is crumbling. This is the insidious onset of discouragement, a heavy cloak that can descend upon the spirit, dimming the light of hope and whispering insidious doubts into the quiet corners of your mind. It is a universal human experience, a natural consequence of striving, of daring to pursue something meaningful in a world that often resists such aspirations. And it is precisely in these moments of profound weariness, when a battle feels decisively lost, that a crucial choice presents itself. The wisdom of Sulco offers a profound reframe for these moments of perceived defeat. At certain times, discouragement comes from a lost battle. It doesn't matter. It is the right moment to ask God for more grace. Forward, renew the joy of fighting. This perspective does not dismiss the pain of a setback. It acknowledges it with a compassionate realism. It understands that the sting of failure, the ache of disappointment, is a legitimate human response. But crucially, it refuses to allow that pain to become a permanent state of being, a terminal diagnosis for the spirit. Instead, it transforms the very moment of discouragement into an unexpected opportunity, a pivotal point for spiritual growth. When you find yourself in the throes of discouragement, feeling the bitter taste of a lost battle, it is easy to succumb to the temptation of self-pity, to retreat into a shell of resignation, to abandon the fight altogether. The inner voice of despair might tell you that your efforts are futile, that you are simply not strong enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough. But this is precisely where the profound insight of this ancient wisdom intervenes. It declares that a lost battle is not the end of the war. It is merely a strategic retreat, a moment to reassess, to regroup, and most importantly, to seek a higher power. To ask God for more grace in such a moment is not an act of weakness, but an act of profound wisdom and humility. It is an admission that your own strength, however formidable, is ultimately finite, and that there are forces at play beyond your immediate control. It is a recognition that true resilience does not come from an endless supply of personal willpower, but from tapping into a boundless source of divine assistance. This act of surrender, of reaching out for help when you feel most vulnerable, paradoxically imbues you with a renewed strength, a fresh perspective, and an infusion of spiritual energy that was previously inaccessible. The command to forward, renew the joy of fighting is not a naive exhortation to simply cheer up. It is a profound call to action, a reminder that the spiritual life is a dynamic process, a continuous engagement with the forces of both light and shadow. The joy of fighting is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the very act of engaging with it, in the unwavering commitment to your purpose, even when the odds seem stacked against you. It is a joy born from the knowledge that every setback, every moment of discouragement, is an opportunity to deepen your reliance on a power greater than yourself, to refine your character, and to emerge from the crucible of adversity with a spirit that is not only unbroken, but profoundly transformed. In a world that relentlessly champions strength, self-sufficiency, and an unyielding facade of invincibility, the very notion of weakness is often perceived as a profound flaw, a vulnerability to be concealed at all costs. You are taught to hide your imperfections, to mask your doubts, to present an image of unwavering competence lest you be judged, dismissed, or exploited. Yet, there exists a profound paradox, a counterintuitive truth whispered through the ages by mystics and sages, and articulated with striking clarity by figures like St. Paul. When I am weak, then I am strong. This is not a poetic flourish or a spiritual platitude. It is a radical redefinition of power, revealing that true strength often emerges not despite your fragility, but precisely because of it. To acknowledge your weakness is not an act of surrender to defeat. It is an act of profound wisdom and courageous honesty. It is the recognition that you are not an autonomous, self-contained entity, but a being intricately woven into a larger tapestry of existence, dependent on forces and connections that extend far beyond your individual capacity. When you cling to the illusion of absolute self-reliance, you inadvertently cut yourself off from the very sources of support, grace, and collective strength that are essential for true flourishing. The pretense of invulnerability creates an impenetrable barrier, preventing genuine connection and hindering the flow of assistance that could otherwise uplift and sustain you. Consider the human experience of hitting rock bottom, of reaching a point where all personal resources are exhausted, where the carefully constructed edifice of self-sufficiency crumbles into dust. In these moments of profound vulnerability, stripped bare of all pretenses, a unique opportunity arises. It is here, in the crucible of utter helplessness, that the ego's grip loosens, and the space is created for something far greater to enter. When you can no longer rely on your own limited strength, you are compelled to look beyond yourself, to seek assistance from external sources, whether they be other human beings, a higher power, or the fundamental forces of the universe. This act of reaching out, of admitting your need, is the very genesis of a new kind of power. This paradox of weakness reveals that true resilience is not about never falling, but about the capacity to rise again, often with the help of others, and always with a deeper understanding of your own limitations and the boundless resources available beyond them. When you embrace your fragility, you become more empathetic, more compassionate, more open to the shared human experience of struggle and triumph. Your imperfections cease to be sources of shame and transform into points of connection, allowing others to see their own humanity reflected in yours. This vulnerability fosters genuine intimacy, creating bonds of trust and mutual support that are far more robust than any solitary strength. Moreover, acknowledging weakness is a prerequisite for receiving grace, for tapping into a spiritual power that transcends the purely human. It is in the humble admission of your own insufficiency that the divine can truly intervene, infusing you with a strength that is not your own, a power that operates beyond the confines of your limited understanding. This is the profound truth. When you are weak, when you are stripped of your illusions of control, when you open yourself to the possibility of external aid, then you become a vessel for a strength that is truly limitless. Your fragility, far from being a liability, becomes the very conduit through which an extraordinary, transformative power can flow, making you strong in ways you could never have imagined. In the intricate dance of existence, where human will and divine providence intertwine, there often arises a fundamental question: what is my part, and what is the part of something greater than myself? This query becomes particularly poignant when you grapple with the challenges of life, when you strive for growth, or when you seek to overcome deeply ingrained patterns of behavior. The wisdom of Sulco offers a clear and liberating answer, encapsulated in the powerful assertion, "The grace of God does not fail you. Triumph depends on you." This statement, deceptively simple, unveils a profound truth about the nature of spiritual progress and the dynamic interplay between divine assistance and human freedom. It begins with an unwavering declaration of divine generosity: the grace of God does not fail you. This is a foundational premise, a bedrock truth that asserts the constant, unfailing availability of spiritual aid, of an empowering force that is always present, always accessible, always ready to uplift and transform. Imagine a boundless reservoir of pure, life-giving water, constantly overflowing, perpetually offering its sustenance to all who would draw from it. This is the nature of grace. It is not a scarce commodity, not a fleeting phenomenon, but an eternal wellspring of divine energy, freely given, perpetually flowing, never diminishing. It is the unseen current that supports your every sincere effort, the subtle light that illuminates your path, the quiet strength that sustains you in moments of weakness. The problem, then, is rarely the absence of grace. The problem lies almost invariably in your willingness to receive it, to acknowledge its presence, and to actively cooperate with its transformative power. This is where the second part of the statement becomes critically important. Triumph depends on you. This is not an abdication of divine responsibility, but a profound affirmation of human freedom and the indispensable role of your own will. Grace is not a magical force that bypasses your agency, compelling you towards a predetermined outcome. Instead, it is an invitation, an empowerment, a divine assistance that requires your conscious participation, your active consent, your deliberate effort. Consider the analogy of a powerful wind filling the sails of a ship. The wind, representing grace, is abundant and capable of propelling the vessel across vast oceans. But for the ship to move, the sailor must hoist the sails, adjust the rigging, and steer the rudder. If the sails remain furled, if the rigging is neglected, if the rudder is left untended, the ship will remain adrift, despite the boundless power of the wind. Similarly, divine grace, however potent, requires your active engagement. It demands your prayer, your effort, your commitment to virtuous action, your willingness to surrender your own limited understanding and align your will with a higher purpose. This understanding liberates you from the paralyzing fear that you might be alone in your struggles, that you might be striving in vain against insurmountable odds. It assures you that you are never truly abandoned, that a powerful ally is always at your side, ready to infuse your efforts with supernatural strength. But it also places a profound responsibility squarely upon your shoulders. It reminds you that while the divine provides the means, you must provide the will. You must choose to open your heart, to extend your hand, to take the difficult steps, to persevere through the inevitable setbacks. The triumph, therefore, is a collaborative masterpiece, a symphony played by both divine grace and human effort. It is in the harmonious interplay of these two forces that true transformation occurs, that obstacles are overcome, and that the deepest aspirations of the soul are realized. The grace of God is the constant, unwavering promise. Your response to that grace is the variable that determines the outcome. Embrace this truth and you will discover an inexhaustible source of power, knowing that while the divine will never fail you, your ultimate victory rests upon your courageous and free cooperation. We have journeyed through the intricate landscape of human experience, exploring the deceptive allure of superficial happiness, the profound emptiness that often accompanies a life devoid of transcendence, and the insidious trap of self-centeredness. We have contemplated the resilience of the wounded soldier, finding joy amidst the relentless battles of existence, and embraced the counterintuitive wisdom that transforms weakness into an unexpected source of strength. Finally, we have recognized the boundless availability of divine grace, understanding that while this spiritual sustenance never fails, your triumph ultimately hinges upon your active cooperation. Now, as our exploration draws to a close, we arrive at a fundamental truth, a profound realization that underpins all these insights. Joy, in its most enduring and transformative form, is not a fleeting emotion to be passively received, but a conscious choice to be actively made. For those who feel the heavy cloak of weariness, who carry the invisible scars of countless lost battles, who find themselves adrift in a sea of uncertainty, this truth may seem daunting, perhaps even impossible. The world often tells you that joy is a consequence of favorable circumstances, a reward for a life free from pain and struggle. But this is a limited, often misleading definition. True joy, the kind that permeates the very core of your being and remains steadfast even in the darkest seasons, is a deeper current, a profound orientation of the soul that transcends the ebb and flow of external events. It is a decision to embrace life in its entirety, with all its inherent complexities, its inevitable sorrows, and its unexpected moments of grace. This choice of joy is not an act of naive optimism, nor a denial of the very real suffering that permeates human existence. Instead, it is an act of profound courage, a radical affirmation of life's inherent goodness, even when that goodness is obscured by shadows. It is the decision to seek meaning in adversity, to find gratitude in scarcity, to cultivate hope in the face of despair. It is the conscious cultivation of an inner landscape where peace can flourish, regardless of the storms raging outside. This is the joy that the world cannot give, and therefore, the joy that the world cannot take away. Consider the profound liberation that comes with this understanding. You are no longer a passive recipient of happiness, buffeted by the winds of fortune, but an active participant in its creation. You possess the agency to choose your response to life's challenges, to cultivate an inner disposition that allows joy to take root and blossom, even in the most barren of soils. This choice is not always easy. It often requires a deliberate effort, a conscious turning away from the seductive whispers of cynicism and despair, and a resolute turning towards the light of hope and purpose. So, as you step back into the currents of your daily life, carry this profound truth within you. Remember that the grace of God never fails, that your weaknesses can become your greatest strengths, that even lost battles can be transformed into opportunities for deeper reliance on a higher power. And above all, remember that joy is not merely a feeling to be found, but a decision to be made. Choose joy, not as an escape from reality, but as a courageous engagement with it, an affirmation of life's sacredness, and a testament to the enduring power of a soul anchored in something far greater than itself. Let this choice illuminate your path, transforming every shadow into an opportunity for deeper light, and every struggle into a testament to an unshakable, transcendent happiness. If this journey into the depths of joy and resilience has resonated with you, if these reflections have offered a new perspective or sparked a quiet moment of introspection, then we invite you to continue this exploration with us. Your engagement is what allows this channel to thrive, to reach more individuals who are seeking meaning beyond the superficial. Consider subscribing to ensure you do not miss future discussions that delve into the profound questions of existence. We also encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What aspect of this conversation touched you most deeply, or what personal experiences have shaped your understanding of joy? Your insights enrich our collective understanding. Finally, if you are ready to continue this path of thoughtful inquiry, a recommended video awaits you, designed to further illuminate the complexities and wonders of the human spirit. This channel exists for those who think deeply about life, and we look forward to your return.